I found this beer in the back of my fridge, realized it's been there for more than a year. Joe Sixpack, is this safe to drink?
Behold the cheese curd. Which beer goes best with this classic bar food?
Answer, all of the above. He's Joe Sixpack, I'm Glen Macnow. We're at the Town Tap in Havertown, PA for this episode of What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Montgo Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Download the app. By Visit Bucks County. Follow the Bucks County Ale Trail. Go to visitbuckscounty.com/ale trail to get your passport. And by the Conshohocken Brewing Company, now with 5 locations.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. We are at the Town Tap in Havertown by Conshohocken Brewing, right on Benedict Ave, right off of Darby Road. You'll usually find me sitting at the bar, and Joe Sixpack is frequented as well. And we are starting the show by drinking a really nice smoked pumpkin imperial porter, a squash-based, total eclipse of the squash, 10.1%. So
Wow.
Carry yourself carefully there. It's got, it's really smoky. It's got a little coffee, chocolate scents in there.
We've tasted smoked beers in the past on the show, and this one's pretty smoky.
Wow. Yeah, nice.
Actually, a little bit more smoke than I get out of that. Well, I don't know whether this has got the pumpkin spices or squash spices, as it were, in it, but I get a lot of good smoky porter flavor to
You
it.
definitely get that. And we did flavored porters a couple of weeks ago on the show, so we wanted to just talk about, well, porters, unflavored porters, which kind of a recurrent theme for us this year. They're kind of disappearing a little bit.
It is. It's what you would call a basic beer, a basic ale. Porter's an old style of beer, a dark beer. It's a type of ale. And over the years, it's sort of morphed a little bit. You see people adding flavors to it. But I thought we should taste just plain porter.
I think that's a great idea. I went to the beer store in Ardmore, basically bought them out of everything they had. And this is the only local one I could find. This is the Yards Washington Porter, which I love because it is designed on what George Washington used to make. And I know you did the chapter from my book, The Great Book of Philadelphia Sports List, on influential beers, important beers.
Right.
And this comes from, what's it, Robert Hare?
Exactly. It's a beer that was created back during the colonial period.
Love that toy.
Wow, you're dangerous.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is a basic porter. It's the way porter would have tasted probably during the colonial period.
Look at that thing. Look at the color on that. That is a beauty.
It is beautiful.
Okay, and Yards has done a few of these tributes, right? They found
they're
old presidents and their beers. Good for them.
Their Founding Father series. They do one with Jefferson and another with Ben Franklin or Poor Richard.
It's nice.
Just
a porter is a nice beer.
It should be because it was originally designed as a dark beer that would refresh because it was made for porters. That is, people who carried stuff from one place to the other.
Oh, that's how it got the name.
Yeah.
I should have figured that out.
They were looking for something refreshing and maybe a little bit hearty too. Might be a good lunchtime beer.
All right, what'd you bring me?
All right, I brought you a beer. Now this is a really cool one. This is Samuel Smith's Toddy Porter. We don't do a whole lot of imports. This is from England.
Yeah.
And I picked this one, Glenn, because this is one of those beers in my life that sort of turned me around on what beer is all about. This is and one of the things it's about is expensive sometimes.
Oh yeah?
I will remember.
I appreciate that.
That this is the first time, it was in 1984, that I paid $10 for a 6-pack of beer.
Oh, for a 6-pack?
Yes.
I thought you were going to say for a bottle of beer.
No,
Okay.
First time. I thought
probably a little more than $10 now. Eh?
For a 6-pack, I would say. I thought it was marked wrong, but you know what? It was totally worth it when I tasted it. I thought it was an amazing beer. It's from Samuel Smith's, which is an English brewery.
Used to drink their nut brown ale. They still make that? That's good stuff.
They do.
There you go.
Fine beer, nice head on there.
I love that. It's good. I love a porter. I don't know about you. I tend to like a porter more later in the night. I'm not drinking this in the afternoon.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
All right. Some of the others.
You mentioned that there were not a whole lot. There were certainly not many locals. But here's some of the standard ones that you'll see in local markets. The Deschutes, their Black Butte Porter is award-winning, great beer. Founders really makes a nice porter. This one from, I think, might just about be the best porter I've ever tasted in America, which is Edmund Fitzgerald Porter.
Yeah, out of Cleveland. Great Lakes out of Cleveland, yeah.
Hard to find one, this Sierra Nevada Porter, really fine beer. This is another English one, London Porter from Fuller's, really fine beer, as is this one from Bell's Porter.
All right, so you can find some and try them and enjoy them. Again, we like to present kind of different beers that people maybe aren't drinking that much, and this is a fun one. All right, couple quick news items. Double Nickel Brewing out of Conshohocken is up to something.
Right, we actually mentioned this, I believe last year they did this too, a collaboration beer with Cape May, Tonewood, Urban Village Brewing, and they make what they call a potluck style IPA for Friendsgiving. And
Oh yeah,
it
that's
raises
good.
Money for food charities. You can find it in cans and on draft in the area. It's still on tap.
Very good. Good for them. And you and I have debated the issue of kids at bars. I will say kids are always very welcome here at the Town Tap. We've kind of built this business around families. You're a little more curmudgeonly, and you've got one place going your way.
Well, it's funny. It's really come to this now where you have breweries are offering adult-only nights. So you have to actually be 21 to get into the bar at the Forgotten Boardwalk Brewery on, I believe it's on Tuesday nights maybe, or Monday nights rather, for their adult swim program.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a sanctuary,
I get it.
all right, it's a good spot to go to.
They still make the funnel cake beer there?
Yes, they do. They
I like
absolutely
that.
do.
All right, and we got 30 seconds left, but the travesty of a mockery of a sham of two frauds continues with...
Well, Round Guys Brewing in Montgomery County, a place we've actually visited on this show,
Yeah, I like it.
now announced that they are going to be making their own hard seltzer.
Yeah, I'm never happy to see that happening. It is one of my pet peeves. Speaking of pet peeves, when we come back, we ask people, what's the thing that bugs them most when they go to a bar? None of those things happens here, by the way, but we'll give you the answers when we get back on What's Brewing.
I'm Joe Sixpack. I love beer and I love travel. I've visited great breweries around the world, and I'm inviting you to join me on my next expedition to France. Yes, they make beer in France. We'll travel the Seine on a luxury river cruise from Paris to Normandy. We'll visit breweries, explore the sights, drink great beer, and maybe some wine. Join me in October 2020. Just visit my website at phillybeerworld.com. Let's discover a world of beer together.
Welcome back to What's Brewing with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. We're at the Town Tap.
You look really
I
at
love
home
being
here.
behind the bar. You know what? This is what I want to do, man. What are you having? Anyway, we did a little thing where you had a bad experience in a bar that led us to a theme. What happened to you?
I did. Well, so I go into a bar and they have a really great tap list, and everything is priced at around $6 or $7. But when you get the glass of beer, it's not a pint of beer. Some beers on that list are a full pint of beer. Others are just small. They're tulips, or maybe instead of a pint, they're 12 or 10 ounces.
And they're not telling you this.
They don't tell you that, so you have no idea. And I think that's a ripoff because, you should know what you're paying for. I mean, they don't do that with wine. When you buy a glass of wine, you get a glass of wine. You don't get like 2 ounces or 8 ounces.
All right.
So anyway, I did some checking on beer sizes, and I wanted to show our audience a little bit about what they're up against when they do that. And we're going to use some demonstration purposes here with the taps.
I like
this
that.
does not happen here because I know your glasses are a full pint here. But just as an example, this is a pint glass right here, and I'm going to fill it up with some of that wonderful Life Coach, and unfortunately some of this is going to get wasted, but there's basically a
foam.
full glass right there. That's a good looking pour. I'm going to pour it into this tulip. Let's see what happens. We're going to fill that baby up, and look,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
it doesn't fit.
So if they're selling you that, they should tell you they're selling you that.
At the very least, I also think that some glasses.
I don't want to waste it.
Really. I think that some people are pouring beers like there's some lager beers that are very expensive, so they put them in a glass like that. You need to have a full 16 ounce of the beer. So
okay,
I'll pay more for it.
This led us to look at pet peeves. We put it out on our social media, which was a lot of. We got more than I think 400 responses.
Whoa. Wow.
We got a ton of responses. I'm going to give you some. By the way, the most common gripe, one of the most common was 14-ounce pint glasses, by the way. And some people actually named places they think that do that.
That happens a lot.
Not here.
We did a little episode about that over the summer. It happens all the time.
Very, very common complaints. Weak pours with cocktails, short pours with wine, too much or too little head on the beer. A lot of serving issues came up, okay? Diane Stapira, good St. Joe's gal, said, it irks my husband to get a branded glass that doesn't match the beer inside.
Because he forgets what he's drinking?
I don't know, I get it.
I don't know. I can see that. Some of these glasses are made specifically for the beer side. I understand that.
C.W. Donald said frosted glasses for beers. And then there were a lot of people who said getting beer in a warm glass out of the dishwasher.
I have not really encountered that much.
I have seen. Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I can see the frosted glass thing. You can chill them up pretty easy, or rather warm them up a little bit with your hands, but it is a little bit irksome. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, but they do frosted glasses on purpose, right? Isn't that supposed to be part of the fun in the summer?
Well,
nice
in the summer, cold glass of
frosted
beer,
mug
sure.
of beer?
Some people are into it, but not all beer styles do well in them.
Okay. Don Mason, beer served in a plastic cup should be illegal, bad for the environment, lousy way to drink beer.
Yeah, the only places I know that do plastic cups other than down the ballpark is places with outdoor bars. They're going out on the deck. They want to prevent breakage.
Several people talk about getting Guinness poured incorrectly. There is an art to that, right?
You're
you're rolling your eyes.
No, you hear about it all the time because Guinness makes a big deal about the proper way, the perfect pour. And I can see that. I frankly have not encountered that much. Generally, I find that bartenders are very well trained on how to pour a Guinness.
We got napkins as coasters. I think that's
it gets a little icky.
Soggy.
Yeah,
you don't want that. Okay, and then we got ordering wings and not getting a good stack of napkins and wipes. I get that.
That's what shirt tails are for, right?
I get that. Some people complain that you go to a good beer bar and there's not a list of the beers around, so you can't really figure out what's there.
That's a pain, and so is when your server doesn't know the beers that
we
they
got
have on
that
tap.
too.
Yeah.
Right. Again, that's not happening at the Town Tap. These people know what they're doing. The beer whisperer said to me, having 50 beers on tap, 25 are kicked, claiming to be a craft bar, but no draft beer with draft list with descriptions, and the staff doesn't know what they're pouring, kind of what you said.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't. Beer is trendy, so a lot of places are putting on lots of beers and then have no clue. The other thing goes back to my glasses, when you don't pour the beer into the proper glassware.
Michael Paolucci said when they have 64 IPAs and 3 other choices.
Oh, that's my other one. That just kills me. I like IPA as much as the next guy, but if you're going to have that many taps, why not make it a little bit more variety than just all IPAs?
Hefeweizen, a Saison, or whatever.
Yeah.
Marrow May said, well, in Philly, I hate it when bars don't serve locally brewed beers. We have such a wealth of quality brewers here. And I know that's true. There's a place that I like to go in Wayne. I'm not going to dime them out now, but it's a really good place, but they don't carry local beers.
To me, if you don't carry local beers, it's a sign that you don't really care about your beer as much, because there is an amazing beer scene here in the Philadelphia region.
All right, and then a few atmosphere issues. Brian Leonard said, having anything other than a sporting event on the TV, why is it ever a good idea to have an episode of Cheaters or Law and Order on in the bar?
I'm a fan of Cheaters, come on.
No, I get that.
I do too.
TV's on, get a sporting event.
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes I go to bars in the afternoon and there's like a advertising, commercial there. Just create, for lawnmowers or
you go
something.
to a bar and they'll have what's brewing. That's not a
Oh,
bad
yeah.
thing. Turkey Face Killa, good name, said maybe I'm a million years old, but I want to be able to talk without screaming, turn down the music.
Well, a bar is a bar, and you got to pick your places. I mean, it's true that some of them are really noisy, but you do want a lot of fun.
Rich Korpick said no foot rails at the bar. Actually, a couple people said that.
Foot rails, and what my missus always complains about is a place to hang the hook, to hang your bag.
Okay, that's good. And then lastly, Dave Stoneback said, no free refills is my peeve.
What is that, a free refill?
I think he's whatever. Good for him. Good luck to you. All right, coming up, I went into the fridge in my basement the other day. I pulled out a couple beers, realized they've been sitting around for more than a year. I'm going to find out from Joe Sixpack if they're safe to drink or if I die right here on the show. That would be interesting TV. We're at the Town Tap in Havertown by Conshohocken Brewing with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. This is What's Brewing. Hi, it's Glen Macnow. You've seen some of our Conshohocken Brewing Company's spots on this show, so I'd like to invite you to come and check them out. You can find us in Conshohocken, Bridgeport, Phoenixville, King of Prussia, and here in Havertown, where I'm enjoying an award-winning Puddler's Row right now. It's one of our year-round core beers, along with Type A IPA and user-friendly Blonde Ale. We've also got exciting seasonal beers, like Blood Money IPA, Philly Vice, and our Unfiltered IPA series. And come hungry. From burgers and wings to salads and small bites, there's something for everyone. Don't leave without trying the amazing cheese curds. All of our spots are built for year-round fun, so you can enjoy a cold one in every season. And good news, you can find Conshohocken beer at grocery stores, distributors, and restaurants throughout PA, South Jersey, and Delaware. So get yourself to Conshohocken Brewing Company. I'll meet you at the bar. Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow. By the way, you can find me on social media at Real Glen Macnow, at Beer Radar, at Beer_Radar, excuse me, that's Joe Sixpack, the show, at What's Brewing PA, all on Twitter. So, Joe Sixpack, I know I'm drinking a fresh beer right here. There you go. Delicious, right out of the draft. I know this is fresh, and I know that if I buy this in my house, it's not going to last that long because I'm going to drink it. However, you and I have been doing this show for a while,
right?
And one of the great fringe benefits is we accumulate a lot of beer.
It's happened, well, it's a fringe benefit and it can be a curse, I guess.
Okay, so I was going through my beer fridge. My basement fridge is my beer fridge, right? Everybody should have a beer fridge. How many do you have? 3 or 4?
3.
Yeah, okay. And I found a couple of cans and bottles that I realized have been there for a long time. And I don't know, and this is where I come to you, Professor Joe Sixpack, he of the wisdom, when is it too long to hold on to a beer? Because this Yuengling, I know I got more than a year ago, okay? I got a case of, just great Yuengling traditional lager. I've probably had 18 of the 24, but there's still some that are sitting in the back of the fridge.
Right. Well, Glenn, I get this question all the time. And, to me, my basic answer is taste it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Is it still good? Find out for yourself.
Well, you said so. We're going to do so. I love this toy, by the way. Okay, here we go. My aim's getting better, too.
Exactly.
All right. Again, this beer is a year old. I believe, again, the problem is there's nothing on it that tells me how old
which
it is.
that's something I wish breweries would do and get on, get together. Some breweries will print the date that it's best by, other will print the date that it's on or it was brewed on. I wish they would all do something because it's a little bit hard to tell.
But how important is it? I remember, was it Budweiser? One of the big labels did it for a while, like brewed on date, like, that's good.
They did a born on date, exactly.
Born on date, okay.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's good marketing. I think it's very informative and educational for brewers, or rather for beer drinkers, to understand that fresh beer is often the best beer.
So what's fresh beer? 3 months, 6 months?
Depends on the type of beer. So fresh beer, something
let's
hoppy.
go with a lager.
Yeah, let's try the lager here.
Okay. It's been around. I'm going to let you go first. There you go. What do you think?
I think it held up a little bit. I lose a little bit of the sweetness that I'm used to in Yuengling.
But you didn't fall over, so I'll give it a try.
No.
Yeah, it's, how do I describe it? It's got a little different aftertaste than the Yuengling that I'll usually drink.
I think it's a little blander than normal.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's not ruined. I didn't fall over, so it's still okay.
Right.
But I would rather have this beer really fresh.
Okay. I had a couple of others. Where the heck did they go? I lost them. Oh, here's one. Here you go. This is a Kentucky bourbon barrel aged when we did our thing on barrel-aged beers. Again, it was about a year ago. It's a darker beer. It's barrel-aged. Is this going to hold up better?
I would think it would. Let me just check one quick thing here, because to me, the most important thing about whether you can age is the alcohol level, which is conveniently hidden on this beer.
I'm guessing high.
It probably
make a
is
difference?
high. Yes, higher alcohol is going to last a lot longer. It's always the key part of you got to cock it first.
Oh, there you go.
Or you could just use
There you go.
this conventional.
Boom. Okay.
So high alcohol will last longer. Think wine, higher alcohol. That's 14% alcohol. You know, I'm going to bet you this is around 7 or 8% probably. All right, definitely do not get the barrel-aged aroma out of this beer that you would normally.
So you're telling me not that it goes skunky, but that it loses a lot of what makes it distinctive.
Exactly. The
I mean, that's what
freshness.
you're telling me with the Yingling, is you're
But
losing the
some
good
beers
Yingling
do
taste.
go skunky. I mean, notoriously Heineken will go skunky over time. There's a number of other beers, and that's a result of how the sunlight
It's okay.
hit. Yeah, exactly.
It's okay.
Sunlight destroys hops.
All right. Tips to make it so that if you know you're not going to drink it right away, what can you do?
Okay, first of all, if you know you're not going to drink away, sometimes you plan not to drink it right away. You want to store some beers, let them sit a little bit longer. Barley wine is a good example of that. A beer that really comes together as you age it, mellows out some of those hops, becomes a really fine beer. But if you're going to age beer, the number one thing you got to do is make sure it doesn't get hot. In fact, actually what I say is keep a constant temperature. Doesn't have to be cold.
So it's been in my fridge. That's a better sign
Yeah,
than it's
yeah.
in my garage over the summer
Exactly.
and so on.
It's
Okay.
also out of the sunlight, but somewhere below 65 degrees, maybe a little bit cooler would be
Okay. Now this one,
preferable.
we're not going to open this one, but I looked at this one, and again, this is when we did the barrel ages more than a year ago. But this is the only one on it that had actually an expiration date. It says drink by 9/20/2020. So we're okay with that.
You would be okay, and I think that beer will last a little bit longer because that is a very high alcohol beer. And that leads me to another one of my tips, which is if you're going to age beer, grab a few bottles of the same beer, taste them over time. You know, drink one this year, drink next year. You know, sort of like hedge your bets, I guess, a little
All
bit.
right, so there you go. So the bottom line answer is keep it cool, keep it dark, and give it a try. The worst that happens is you have a sip and then toss out the rest.
Exactly.
All right, he's Joe Sixpack. The man is a genius, I tell you. We're at the Town Tap in Havertown. Coming up, we're going to talk to Joanne Cunningham, the best damn bartender you ever met in your life, right here on What's Brewing.
This holiday season, where will you find yourself? Celebrating tradition or crafting your own? From awakening awe to igniting the night. Spend the holidays in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing with Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow, joined by Joanne Cunningham, one of the just great, friendly, smart bartenders here at Town Tap in Havertown. Before we ask Joanne a few questions, it is time for our weekly beer bracket update.
Yes, we're plowing into that second round of the playoffs here. And this week we had a real nice matchup in the dark category featuring Double Nickel Buffalo Nickel. Really nice beer. They make an aged version of it. It's outstanding too. But it fell to one of the long-standing stouts locally, Sly Fox Riley Stout. It's an Irish dry stout. Real nice beer. And in the sour/tart category, Dogfish Head Sea Quench just stomped all over Trogs.
Yeah, that's a very popular beer.
Their raspberry tart, it is very popular. It's become almost one of their core beers, I think. So they move on to the next round as well.
Very nice. All right, Joanne Cunningham, as I said, is one of the great bartenders here at Town Tap. So nice to see you again, as always.
Yeah, you too, Glenn.
And we want to do get your expertise on food and beer pairings. So we brought two of the fine items from the menu, Joe Sixpack. First of all, let me just say, I'm very proud of this. They let me design a burger for the menu. This is the, what are you shaking your head?
That
it's
is
the OG Prof burger.
I'm not. That is a work of art. You
It
did
is.
a wonderful job designing it.
I thank you. We had a lot of fun. We went up to a kitchen in Bucks County and spent like 2 days just doing things. So, Joanne, if we're going to eat this, and we are,
Oh, yeah.
what do you recommend with it?
So this is a rich meal. It's very delicious. I think the ESB pairs perfectly with it for a couple of reasons. One, the ESB is very drinkable.
Hello.
Yes, it's very drinkable. It's you know, it's not our lightest beer, but it's light enough that it won't overpower you with this burger. But it's also got like a caramel sweetness that's a little bit in the backbone that'll really pair nicely with the richness of the burger.
So, Glenn, I got to compliment you on the design. This is like the opposite of the meal we had last week, that
Yes.
healthy taco salad.
All right, okay. It's, you know, it's got onions, they're vegetables.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
And bacon?
And well, okay.
Lots of protein.
Right, and the other thing, Joanne, that we had you guys do today, and it's, again, the other thing that I got to contribute to the menu a couple of years ago was the cheese curds, always popular.
Yes, I serve a lot of these at the bar. Great bar food. For me, I think, not just because I'm obsessed with it, but the Life Coach Session IPA goes really well with these because you have that creaminess of the cheese, and then you have the citrusiness of this Session IPA. It just works really well together, and you're going to be happy.
Wow, you're absolutely right. That not only it complements it, but it actually cleans the palate.
Yeah.
Makes me want to have another one
Yeah,
immediately.
So you're really good on this. How do you get really good on this?
Well, practice. Drinking lots of beer. I'm pretty good at that.
See, it's a positive.
Yeah, and really just, you know, liking what I do. I enjoy good, fresh food, and I enjoy good, fresh beer even more.
So these are great suggestions on the pairings. I got to ask you, do you have any particular favorites?
Yeah, I'd say I probably love to have, I really love the fried pickles. It's another great bar food. It just goes really, really well with a Type A. I'm definitely an IPA fan, and our Type A is something that you can pretty much get year round. Just together, that classic West Coast hop varietal.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but it just pairs
Okay.
really well with the spiciness of the pickles, and it's just really lovely.
Well, some of that is just a matter of, as you pointed out, experience, tasting, and see what goes. Everybody's palate is different, so try things out.
Exactly.
So we did a segment earlier in the show on people's pet peeves at bars. I don't want to ask you about that, but I want to ask you the opposite. What makes a place a great place? What makes a place special?
Sure. Well, I mean, look, obviously we have good fresh food, we have fresh beer, it's constantly changing, but I think really the main ingredient is people who want to be here, right? So from our manager to the kitchen to all the front of house staff, waiters and bartenders, we want to be here. We genuinely like each other.
Yeah.
So that follows through to the customers, and they can feel that.
All right, and what makes a good bar customer?
Ooh, okay.
Right? What are the people coming in, other than the fact they tip big?
Tip big, yeah.
That's always good.
Yeah.
What makes a good customer?
I mean, honestly, for me here, I like a customer who is open to trying new beers, is open to talking beer, because I can talk all night about beer. So if they like to talk to me for a few minutes, they're my friends.
There you go.
Well, we actually put that question out. Next week, we're going to be asking our viewers about what makes a great bar, what they like about bars. And to me, that is, and we'll talk a lot more about it next week, but to me, that's the one thing, engaging people in a bar, talking to the bartenders, talking to your fellow customers. That's the best part about
Yeah,
a
it's
bar.
an experience.
Absolutely. Joanne Cunningham, thank you so much for having us today. Had a great time. You come to this place, you see her, you know you're going to have a good night. He's Joe Sixpack. I'm Glen Macnow. From Town Tap in Havertown, we've had a blast on What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Macnow Makers, powered by the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Download the app. By Visit Bucks County. Follow the Bucks County Ale Trail. Go to visitbuckscounty.com/ale trail to get your passport. And by the Conshohocken Brewing Company, now with 5 locations.